All right, welcome back, searchers. Hope everyone's doing well. We kind of have some late breaking news. A few very interesting errors have emerged on a couple 2023 coinage. So I would like to take some time to talk about each one. I hope to not take a ton of your time kind of disseminating this information, but it is certainly worth seeing if there are other examples that are popping up of these specific coins. Yeah, we're beginning to see some pretty crazy things. It's not all isolated on just quarters like they were last year, but we're beginning to see some stuff on a few different denominations, and that is good news. And I think what we're about to see here is pretty exciting. And I'm hoping that there is going to be other examples of these particular errors that are going to pop up on the scene to help kind of validate these particular pieces. Hopefully they're not quite one shots, as what I like to call them, kind of like one and done. There's only one example that's ever been found. That would be more so a real genuine U.S. Mint error, by definition, than anything else. But the first topic of conversation is a coin that had not sold yet, but is on the open market. And I had done a quick little short video about this because this is something that you guys really do need to pay attention to. 2023 P. It's a Philadelphia minted Bessie Coleman quarter with an apparent strike through on the reverse. Very similar in style to the Tuskegee Airmen burning building. Very similar in style to the American Samoa blind bat quarters. And we all know how valuable those particular examples came out to be. So we have this one here that is currently live in public auction. $700 is what the seller, who is brand new, by the way. I mean, that's one way to come out of the gate firing on all cylinders with this find right here. $700, but this one was, I guess, termed burning airplane by its seller. First time I've ever heard of that. But in any event, we have our quarter right here. So nothing of note on the obverse of the coin, but when we flip it over, things, business begins to pick up a little bit. And this is actually really exciting. And I don't know, there's a few things that I could personally think of what this could be. As far as like a namesake, kind of reminds me of like Independence Day, and it just I forgot a few of the other movies, like the disaster movies that were so popular during the 2000s. But it looks like a meteor coming in and hitting the plane, more so than it does an actual burning airplane. And that's the kind of like the exciting part of this. Now, from this particular vantage point, it doesn't, it looks like a strike through, but at the same time, it could look like a stain. Which it can happen. Whatever the U.S. Mint uses to rinse the planchets, they come out kind of like a milky white substance on the coin. That's even after they're struck. So some would say, oh, it could be that as well, or it could be something foreign that's on the coin. That is completely independent from the actual minting process. All right, so like a post-mint damage or something like that. But when we get closer, it gets really exciting, because what we're seeing here is kind of like that style of field restricted strike through that we've been used to seeing the last few years. And when they're placed specifically on the design of a coin, where you could effectually give it a nickname and it looks the part, that is something that'll really cook. Now, this picture, even better. I think I'm a little bit more bought in as far as it being a field restricted strike through. When we get to the next picture, it's even more exciting because you could tell that the anomaly in question has all of the kind of like the features and kind of like the cratering that a strike through should have, and you could see some of the deterioration of the design of the airplane on the coin as a result of the strike through. Now, in this particular case, the strike through anomaly is like a hardened piece of grease that's been scraped over and pushed around and moved around by the feeder finger. Now, generally, that's accompanied by, a few feeder finger scrapes, which are going to be parallel lines that damaged the surface of the die as it's inserting the next planchet. All right, so the feeder finger is making contact with the top of the die during this whole process of inserting the coin and getting it ready for the next strike. But this is looking more likely a strike through, and it couldn't have been on like the most perfect part of the coin. I think if it was like in the clouds, or if it's on Bessie Coleman's kind of like figure, I think it wouldn't be as important to the discovery of this particular error. But because it's on the airplane, it's like, ooh, we got a burning airplane error here. We have, meteor crashing into the airplane error. I don't know. I like burning airplane personally, but this is really cool. And then when we begin to look at other photos, it's an apparent thing that's in the coin. So it's incuse into the coin as being some sort of strike through. So this is quite interesting. I would love to hear if you guys find another one of these. I know the airplane on this coin, I know Bessie Coleman is the subject for the entire coin, but the airplane specifically has been kind of like the topic of a number of different things that people have found, from die chips, whether they're on the bottom part of the biplane or on the top wing of the biplane that connect into the word unum, has been actually quite hot recently. Coins have sold for between $10 and $25, depending on the size of the die chip in question. So this is the first one that I think that you guys need to pay close attention to and see if there are other ones. But we have no realized sales yet, other than this one that is available at $700 or best offer. The price, incredibly ambitious. If he received $700 for the coin, congratulations is in order, and coming up with the nickname and all that stuff. I think there's a lot to get excited here. And I hope that, if this is like a rarity where we don't see too many of these, we might see a very healthy premium on the secondary market. All right, so that's kind of like one of the notable coins that's currently live and available. We've seen a lot of the other things like the incuse machine doubling on the initials and all that stuff, so we're not really going to tackle that. The next one that I want to talk about, has been a really substantial die clash on the 2023 Jefferson nickels, and we have this one here that's sold on March 5th for $36.55 with 8 bids from Cole Coins. Cole Coins, if you're listening, maybe you should check out some more nickels, see if you could find some of these, because so far, that is a really reasonable amount of money for a sale. But you could see the eyeballs of Thomas Jefferson that were clashed onto that reverse die, and then subsequently a very strong die clashing that we're seeing here on the reverse of the coin. What's just strange is that we only have die clashes of the eyeball and then like certain little lines, character lines that go, that kind of make up the edge of the face and things like that. Maybe a wrinkle here like this. That's right above the window here. But we don't see a whole lot more other than the protected clashing between Monticello, the word, and the steps of Monticello itself. So this is, again, another thing to be on the lookout for, this time on Jefferson nickels. I know we're kind of still in this infancy stage of discovery and all that stuff. But we're already finding in 2023 where the U.S. Mint director had proclaimed that we're going to see less of these type of things. And then all right out of the gate, we're seeing some pretty incredible US Mint errors so far, from little die chips to strike throughs and now die clashing on this nickel. You know, it looks anything but like an improvement. It looks almost like 2022 all over again. And I think that's quite exciting. So here's, again, another coin to be on the lookout for. Let's see if we could find other examples that show more clashing on the obverse and reverse of the coin, because on this one, you know, the clashing is right here. Better to be seen with a microscope or a jeweler's loop, just to be sure. But overall, you know, this one is just kind of like isolated to the reverse of the coin between the steps of Monticello and the word Monticello itself. So make sure you're looking out for these. Very strong sale at $36. The obverse showing virtually no clashing whatsoever. So they probably at one point switched out those dies, you know, which is what they do. If they didn't want to clean up the dies, then they'll just go ahead and replace that working die with another one. And then go about their business. And then the final one, which is really interesting, is on the Lincoln Cent, the brand new 2023s. There has been an error variant called the VDBV type. And it's exactly like it sounds. VDB, as we know, is Victor David Brenner's initials. He is the designer of the Lincoln Cent obverse. And his initials are right here at the base of the bust, right on this little kind of slope before you get into the fields there. But you guys see what I'm seeing? There's a tiny little engraved V next to VDB to the right of the initials. Let's see if we can take an even more closer look at this, which is right here. And you're going to see that there's a little tiny V here. Now, I will say this. The actual size is pretty close to the actual size of the V in the main part of the initials. It's only a little bit more shallow. Okay, now I know people are going to say, well, it's probably just a well-placed hit. And I would agree under normal circumstances. However, there have been a number of these that have sold from different sellers. Okay, which means that there is kind of like a little bit of continuity when it comes to this particular anomaly. It could very well be a now if it's incuse on the coin, it's kind of hard to tell with these images, but if it's incuse and you know it looks like the coin took a hit, then that means on the dies it would be a raised feature on there. All right, and that's the big reason why that you're gonna have an impressed design feature on the coin, is if it's raised on the working dies. So with that being said, that sounds like something that was probably integrated as part of the working die, or maybe perhaps the working hub received a little bit of damage. Like, you know, maybe a tool was dropped in that very specific section that has kind of like that V-shaped tip to it, damaged the working hub before the image was squeezed onto the working die. All right, kind of like two different processes, but it helps create the working die, which is the workhorse that creates the coins. So this is again quite interesting. We do have reported sales on these, and there are a number of them that are currently available on eBay as an item that you can buy if you wanted to. They're not particularly cheap. But I think because of where the exact placement is on this particular coin, again, we have kind of like the perfect storm here. We have a new nicknamed coin, VDBV variation, that people are coining, no pun intended, on this particular example. So this one right here ended up selling for a staggering sum of $70. Although this one was found very early on at the beginning of February 11th was the date for this one with 16 bids. Now, I will say this. As more of these have been being found, the prices have eroded a little bit, and that's to be expected. Because the people that do want these, they would already have bought their own examples on the secondary market. Here's another one right here with the same exact anomaly. This individual actually had a few of them and had sold two of them, three of them available for $55. I think this sale was March 5th or somewhere around there. But as you can see, that same V anomaly on there. And it looks like there's a little squiggly kind of strike through right there. It could be a little wire or something. Very interesting, but not the best photos, but you could totally tell what we got here. You can even see it on this photo here, the VDBV initial variation. So there's another even brighter picture. And then this particular, again, $55. And then we have this one here as well from the same seller. March 8th is the sale date. This one sold for $36 plus shipping. So $41.25 with 6 bids was the sale price on this one. And this particular seller had a number of them. 5sand_82. So yeah, this one looks like as, I don't know if that's dust or, that really is a strike through. But again, very, very interesting stuff coming out in circulation. So be on the lookout for each one of the 3 coins that we highlighted today on Blue Ridge Silverhound. You're hearing it here first, folks. And again, these are coins that are currently front and center in your change today. You can make some real money finding these and then selling them, or really adding something cool to your collection. That strike through on the back of that Bessie Coleman, be on the lookout. That one is really cool, and I think that one, if legitimized by further examples being found, will be a really big deal for this year in 2022. So I wish you guys the best of luck in all of your hunts, and go out there and get them. I'll see you guys next time, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Come check me out on TikTok. All right, see you guys.